The Ryco X102R engine protection kit for the GUN Toyota Hilux and Fortuner comes complete with the Ryco Z980K series fuel water separator and RCC 351 series catch can, as well as specifically moulded hoses, brackets, fuel lines and hose clamps, all engineered for a neat install that looks like it could have come this way from the factory. As always, we recommend that the kit is installed by a qualified mechanic with the procedures shown in this instructional video. Starting off, we'll be fitting the Ryko fuel filter bracket. This replaces the factory bracket, which will need to be removed. To remove the factory bracket, disconnect the electrical connector and dismantle the filter housing lock cable clip and cable harness clip. From there, remove the bolt securing the ECU to the wheel arch beside the factory filter bracket. Next, grab the factory filter housing assembly and lift it up to remove it from the factory bracket. Remove the 5 bolts securing the factory bracket to the vehicle, remove the bracket itself and store it for safekeeping. Fit the Ryko fuel filter bracket in the same position as the factory bracket, reusing the 5 factory bolts and a supplied bolt and washer. Secure the ECU to the right hand side of the bracket using the supplied M6 bolt, washer and lock nut like so. Now slide the factory filter housing assembly onto the Ryko fuel filter bracket, reconnect the electrical connector and fit the filter housing lock cable clip and cable harness clip. Next, we can get to work installing the Ryko fuel water separator. From the kit, select the supplied quick connectors that fit the Ryko fuel water separator head. Locate the supplied blanking plugs and install the Ryko fuel water separator head with metal quick connectors, blanking plugs and rubber bonded washers like so. Be sure to install the blanking plugs on port 3 and 4 of the head and the quick connectors on port 1 and 2. Now, install 2 supplied elbow connectors onto one end of both supplied fuel hoses and install 4 supplied fuel hose clamps onto both ends of the fuel hoses like so. Don't tighten the fuel hose clamps just yet. Locate the fuel inlet hose at the factory fuel filter. Have a rag ready to capture any spilt diesel, loosen the factory fuel hose clamp and disconnect the fuel supply line from the factory filter. Then, install the supplied fuel hose clamp and insert the supplied elbow connector onto the end of the fuel supply line. Don't tighten the fuel hose clamps just yet. Next, mount the fuel water separator assembly onto the Ryko fuel filter bracket facing to the engine using the 2 black M10 bolts and washers supplied with the kit. Connect the supplied fuel hose to the outlet port of the fuel water separator by pushing the elbow connector onto the metal quick connector until you hear a click and route the other end like so. Connect the end of the fuel hose to the factory fuel filter inlet port, then secure with a hose clamp. Ensure all hose clamps are secure and check that neither of the fuel hoses are jammed or kinked. If necessary, use the supplied cable ties to secure the fuel hoses for added security. To complete the install of the fuel water separator, you'll need to prime the vehicle's fuel system. Start by locating the priming button on top of the factory fuel filter and prime the fuel system by pumping the button repeatedly. Continue pumping until it's hard to press. The priming process could take about 5 to 10 minutes. Throughout the priming process, be sure not to open the bleed screw on the fuel water separator. Once the fuel system has been primed, start the engine and check for any leaks. Next, you'll need to fit the Ryko catch can bracket. Start by locating the bracket mounting position on the driver's side of the engine bay. Then, remove the 2 factory bolts from the suspension upper control arm shield without removing the shield itself. Fit the Ryko catch can bracket on top of the suspension upper control arm shield, reinstall the 2 factory bolts and install the supplied bolt and washer. Ensure that all of the fasteners are tight and you can move on. To fit the Ryko catch can, start by sliding the catch can onto its position on the Ryko mounting bracket so the ports are facing forward and slightly towards the engine, and tighten the plastic bracket retaining screw on the catch can. Next, remove the engine cover and locate the engine PCV valve outlet port at the front driver's side of the engine. Disconnect the factory PCV hose from the PCV outlet port, leaving the other end attached to the air intake. Connect the small end of this supplied Ryko PCV hose to the engine PCV valve outlet using the smaller supplied hose clamp. Connect the larger diameter end to the lower port of the catch can and secure with the larger supplied hose clamp. Next, connect the supplied straight hose joiner to the small diameter end of this supplied Ryko PCV hose and secure with the supplied hose clamp. Connect the Ryko PCV hose to the factory PCV hose via this hose joiner and secure with a supplied hose clamp. Then connect the large diameter end to the upper port of the catch can and secure with another supplied hose clamp. Check that neither of the PCV hoses are jammed or kinked by the surrounding engine parts. To install the drain hose, remove the drain plug from the bottom of the catch can and take out the rubber seal from the plug and refit. Insert the drain hose and secure it with a supplied spring clamp. Insert the hose drain tap to the other end and use the zip ties to secure the hose. To drain, use a drain pan or bottle and pull back the red section until all the oil is drained out.